So earlier this year, my partner Frank, he met with a client. This guy was a single dad, and he was living in Cleveland. And the only thing this guy wanted was he wanted a house. He wanted something of his own, and he was putting both of his kids through private schooling because he was in the city of Cleveland, and he didn't want them going to the public schools because he thought that they were a little bit dangerous, a little bit rough for him. So Frank sat with this client, and they got to talking, and they were talking about numbers. That's what Frank is best at. And while Frank was working over some math, he shared with this guy, he says, I got an idea for you. You know, how much are you paying in this private schooling? And it came to the tune of about $700 a month between his children. And Frank said, how would you feel if I told you that you could afford a house here in the suburbs and beautiful Strongsville, Ohio? And instead of having to afford that private school, so you feel safe and your kids are getting a good education, you could send them to Strongsville, where they've got good school ratings, and it's definitely a safe school. And this guy he was built like a big burly, probably bike motorcycle rider. This guy started crying when Frank was going over math and started saying, you're telling me that I can buy this house? Because I never would have thought in a million years that I could have bought this house. But because Frank explained to him, if we save that $700 a month that you are using for private school, and we just move you into a real nice suburb, your kids are going to be safe. You're going to have a beautiful home to raise your family in. And this big guy broke down into tears, and Frank broke down into tears. And two big guys were hugging it out, and it's about changing lives, And to me, there's not a better scenario of changing lives than a big biker guy crying and my partner crying, and it was victory, and it was great. It was something sweet.